Our new song is available for pre-order at getcominghome.com. Check it out. Download iTunes to pre-order and support our work. Here's a story from the Post-Millennial. Idaho man charged with threatening to kill Trump. I ain't even going to read what he wrote, and no one should. But he basically wrote that he was going to personally go after Donald Trump.
This man's last name is Crazy Bull.
His name is Crazy Bull.
What?
That's right. Wow. And he's 64. And apparently he'd been calling Trump's home and said he's going to start driving there. And he wants to go after the rapist pig Trump. And that says everything right there. That the lies from the Democrats, from the media, are driving people to the most extreme circumstances.
It's got to be what it is. I've been mulling this over on stream. I was talking to people about it. Like, this is the first time I've ever seen the emotions attached to a political president in the United States. It's always been like Obama. You could brutally insult that guy, and people that loved him would just be like, okay, that's enough, whatever. But they didn't take it emotionally harmful. And people that love this guy will get like physically hurt if you insult him, some of them, not everybody. And then people that can't stand him will get physically hurt if you promote him. And I've never seen this before. It's like it's architected to be this way through media manipulation. It's got to be like the people are programmed. To feel that
way. Yeah.
When in the 2016 cycle, 93% of stories about Trump were negative. That was true in 2024, and it's still true today. The latest analysis that was coming out of, I think, like ABC News was like 93% negative stories for Trump. Yeah. They only ever lie and say negative things about the guy.
And then people are fed up with it, and they're getting emotionally defensive for him. They're like, just stop. I've seen it. I'm done with it. Quit making fun of him. Like that kind of energy. So they're getting upset if you trash him, kind of.
There was this really, really funny thing on MSN. I think it was MSNBC where they were asking union workers about January 6th. Did you guys see this? Mm-mm. There's just like
February. One said like February 6th or something like that.
Someone said that.
Yeah. Like, what's that?
Yeah, they're just like, what is that? And they were like, January 6th. And one guy was like, oh, I think I saw that on the news. And they were like, so it doesn't sound like it matters to you. He's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
It does not matter to us. But for a lot of people, that's why that Quinnipiac poll showed that 90% of Democrats fear violence, because MSNBC has just been beaten over the head, screaming that it's going to get bad.
Which is so insane when they're the ones trying to literally kill their political opponents. Like, it's not...
Well, I wouldn't say that of MSNBC.
No, but a lot of these, progressives and these Democrats who are living this perpetual state of fear, it is only one side of the aisle right now that are throwing bullets around at their political opponents. You don't see this happening to Kamala Harris. You don't see this happening to Tim Walz. It's happening to one political party. And it's why I get so frustrated when I see those on MSNBC who always try to both sides this issue. They're saying both sides need to tamper down the rhetoric. They all need to be more civil. No, y'all are the one trying to kill Donald Trump every other week, it seems. Why is this a both sides issue? I don't think that it is.
I think it's interesting that the media has, we know it's biased, but they really do seem to be working with this drama, in part because I think it feeds their own viewership. Like, do you remember during COVID, people talked about this a lot? You would get people saying, like, I just had to take a break from watching the news because everything is so horrible, but I feel like I have to be informed and I can't look away. And I think there are a lot of Americans who feel that way about politics. They are prone to being anxious or prone to having some sort of unstable emotional reaction to it. And so it's being fed, but that also keeps eyes on the mainstream media. So rather than basically telling the voters, like, yes, politics can affect the outcome of laws and this is serious and you should go vote, but also you are at basically probably at higher risk of being impacted by the listeria outbreak in America than by actual political violence. They say, well, Trump is a danger all the time and you should live in fear. It's inaccurate, and I think it does a disservice to the people who are depending on them, who feel a level of helplessness and look to the mainstream media to give them accurate information. They're not doing it because it serves their bottom line.
Yeah, I get that vibe too, that they're not. It's not that the MSNBC anchors that say things like he's a threat, he must be stopped at all costs, or whatever these words they're using. They're not trying to kill him, but they are living in fear and they're making money off of driving viewers and maybe they deep down think that in a video game sort of way, like just make it stop. But they don't realize that people that are very mentally ill might take that as, I will do literally anything to stop this man. Like,
I think a lot of people have been driven insane by the media cycle. And in 2020, we saw this. They incorrectly blamed Donald Trump for the abnormality of society. Donald Trump is a symptom of what this country has been going through. He is not the cause of it. Donald Trump got elected because of the big bank bailouts, because of the needless wars and foreign intervention. And Occupy Wall Street, the Tea Party were manifestations that ultimately, I think, lead to Donald Trump. 9 million. I remember I was at the Deplorable. That's what it was called. And two people were there with big old MAGA hats. And this is 2017. And they were like, hey, Tim, we're big fans. And I was like, really? I was like, but you're Republicans? I'm like, no, we're Occupy Wall Street, but we're for Trump. And I was like, really? And they were like, oh, tons of Occupy people went for Trump. They were at Occupy because they opposed the bailouts, the banker bailouts. And why would they support Hillary Clinton? She represents the same thing. Yeah. Trump was more like Bernie. They wanted Bernie. They couldn't get Bernie. They say Donald Trump. So what happens now is everything is crazy. The media is screaming in your face. Rachel Maddow screaming in your face just every day, the top of her lungs. And these people are going, make it stop, make it stop. Why is this happening? And they go, it's happening because of Trump. And they go, ooh, it's Trump's fault. But here's the thing. This was the narrative in 2020. I think people have learned their lesson. And we're seeing a lot of very positive signs for Donald Trump right now. His polls are improving. I keep mentioning the Quinnipiac thing. He is now leading. You got a New York Times Siena poll showing Donald Trump leading in battleground states. He's up in aggregate in the battleground states. And so all of this is a very good indicator. In PA and key counties, it's now flipped. The Republican Party now larger than the Democrats for the first time in a bunch of areas. I think regular people have started to realize Trump ain't the one who made everything crazy. No. The media and the Democrats and the neocons did.
He said in the 80s, I think it was in the 80s when Oprah was interviewing him, she asked him if he'd ever run for president. He was like, I don't think, if it ever got so bad, probably would. It was something like that he told Oprah. And he was being honest. And he saw the 2008 economic collapse. He saw, I don't know if he understood exactly everything that was going on. He's very smart and he knows a lot more than he lets on sometimes. But he's really trying to offer a remedy to this economic catastrophe that the United States has been suffering through the overprinting of fiat currency in the last 50 years. And not everyone seems to either understand that he's trying to do that or agrees with his form of solution, especially the imperialist powers that are trying to convert the United States into the serfdom technocracy where they're trying to strip people of their rights and make them part of a global system where they serve the corporation. Like, Trump's not into that crap.
It really feels like, you guys ever see the movie Elysium with Matt Damon?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a space station in the sky where all the white French-speaking people live, and then everyone on Earth is like non-white and speaks Spanish. But it really does feel like that Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, the Democrats, they represent literally that. They're going to bring in a bunch of non-citizens under temporary protected status to give them jobs, but they won't have any voting rights. They'll be second-class citizens, so they can create their affluent suburbs walled off from everybody else and have serf labor. We'll be nice about it. We'll call it serf labor. And Trump is like, how about we just secure our borders, have a bunch of babies, get jobs, and do the hard work to make this country function again? Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of like, I kind of like that.
With the right imperial base, with the right industrial base, you could do that without war. I mean, if we were really producing the right things in the United States, we wouldn't have to conquer and take it.
Think about what the economy really is. It's people trading with one another. And what you need then is access to energy, which allows you to create more, substantially more. There's this really great little mini doc I watched a long time ago about the evolution of energy. Energy used to be human energy. Humans would eat food, and then they'd do work like with a hatchet or something to do work. Then one day they were like, hey, if I take this ball and whip it a bunch, it'll do what I tell it. Then they used animal energy to till fields because the animals could easily walk and then eat grass all day. Then they started burning wood. Then they started burning coal, et cetera, et cetera. You get the point. Now we're at this point where if in the United States we unleash energy as per Donald Trump's number one plan in Agenda 47, that brings costs down. It allows more expansion. The simple version is if you have to work less, you have an opportunity to work on other things more. Yeah. So for all these young people who are like, I don't want to work at Starbucks, I want to do fulfilling things. Imagine if Starbucks paid you so well, you only had to work there part-time a little bit, enough to pay your bills, and then have an additional 40 hours to, learn guitar or paint or whatever it is you wanted to do. That's a good economy, and that's what we want to happen. Trump energy is the first step. I don't know, Ian loves it.
Hydrogen?
You love the energy.
That was my role at Mines as director of energy. I'm obsessed with electricity, energy, forming it, creating it, harvesting it, all of it.
This is why Ian said he is the biggest Trump supporter and he'll be voting for Trump. He'll crawl over broken glass to vote for him.
They say you can't create energy, but you can draw it from without the system. There are no closed systems. This is where people that naysay fusion get it wrong. They say you can't get more energy out of that system than you put into it. That violates the second law of thermodynamics. But there is no system, bro. Yeah, you use these closed systems to pull water out of wells. It makes sense in the third dimension, but in reality, there are no closed systems. We draw energy from outside of our perception.
Well, so this is a good example is when you see these videos online of like, there will be a perpetual motion machine and you're like, how's it spinning? Well, it's because sunlight is hitting a part of it, which causes the expansion of gases or something. So it's possible to do.
And along the lines of creating perpetual motion, the sun, we would look at it and say that is perpetual motion. It's not. It's just moving very slowly. It takes 3 or 4 billion years to run out of fuel.
Right. So back to the politics before
it is
Ian loses
perpetual
it.
motion.
My point is Trump's #1 policy item is energy in this country.
It's drill, baby, drill.
Drill, baby, drill. But it's more than that. Trump has talked about nuclear, and Trump is absolutely going to be open to everything else, especially hydrogen.
Yeah, especially hydrogen.
But I got to be honest with you. We've had people super chat that the hydrogen thing isn't as good as it sounds. Fusion is probably the direction.
Well, they're both great. Yeah, tabletop fusion and a palladium mesh with tritium, which is heavy hydrogen with 2 added neutrons. You get that's the way to do cold fusion.
Well,
the hydrogen comes out of the graphene process of like
Trump's your guy.
Yeah.
You know what the problem is with Kamala Harris? Look, I'm going to say this right now for everyone listening at home. If you are someone who just finds yourself obsessed with hydrogen energy or graphene, you got to vote for Donald Trump. Kamala Harris is trying to the neolibs and the neocons want petrodollar. They want oil to be king so they can control the energy of other nations. And that's the IMF liberal economic world order plan. That's why they want war with Russia. That's why they're defending Ukraine and funding it. And I know everyone in America, they just love hydrogen energy so much, and they're so interested in it. That's why they're going to vote for Donald Trump.
Look at what they're doing at Rice with flash joule heating. You can take carbon and hit it with electricity at 7,000 degrees at 0.1 millisecond pulses and turn it into graphene powder, and you get hydrogen, about $4.50 worth of hydrogen for every kilogram of graphene you produce. You actually end up making a profitable just by you actually make money to create the hydrogen. We've inverted the cost structure.
Wow, you've sold me on Trump, Ian. I'm gonna.
You should vote for him. You should vote for him. He might actually invest in these things you love so much.
I hear that he actually is, and I mean that seriously.
Or guide investments.
I actually hear that. I think you should talk to Vivek. In all honesty, because Vivek would probably.
If you come back on, we should get
him up because I feel like Vivek would absolutely go to Trump and be like, take a look at these, and Elon too.
I'll put together a proposal, like a legitimate proposal.
Thanks for watching this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to check out the live show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. on this channel. Subscribe, and we'll see you all there.